the night here between Charles Johnson and Ramazan Temirov because I think it's an interesting one. Charles Johnson, he is kind of the guy that's gonna say yes when no one else will. He's been the cleanup man for the UFC. Whenever there's a fighter in the flyweight division that people don't want to fight or they need someone to jump in on short notice, they call Charles Johnson, and he probably deserves a bigger name coming in here on a 4-fight win streak, but he doesn't say no, and that's why he's facing an 18-2 Caucus fighter on a 10-fight winning streak in Ramazan Temirov. And Temirov only has one UFC fight, but he got the job done in style. He knocked out CJ Vergara in the first round, and 5 first-round finishes in a row for Temirov, and he's a very powerful guy for the weight. Big step up, though, so we're going to see if he's able to beat a skilled and motivated fighter like Charles Johnson. But Temirov, he's still unproven, and this fight is going to tell us a lot if you ask me. Obviously, Temirov is on a tear. He looked amazing in his last fight and some of his more recent fights, but he hasn't fought the best opponents. He looks explosive on the feet. Clearly, he's dangerous, but it's hard to really gauge for me how good he is. He throws a lot of really wild looping punches. I feel he lunges in and leaves openings, but the danger factor that he has saves him. And he's good at seeing shots and coming and either rolling with them and just getting out of the way and then returning. So he will kind of touch and go with you in the pocket fairly decently, but I feel like like I said, he does leave some openings. He will mix in some spins too, like spinning kicks. He has fast kicks in general. And when he hurts you, he will go for the finish, but I don't really see him as like a super slick striker. It's more like power and speed. And he has a really nice sprawl. It seems like he has good reactions to takedowns. And the times I've seen guys shoot in on him, they've really gotten nowhere with it. But one thing I haven't really seen is him have to deal with upper body takedowns much. And Johnson being a little taller, I think maybe that could be a path to victory for Johnson. And maybe some knees for Charles Johnson too, try to zap Temirov in the clinch. So Temirov just needs to stay moving, try to stay out of any dirty boxing, grappling exchanges, I feel like. And the conditioning for him is going to be tested here as well because he hasn't been out of the first round in 3 years. And if he becomes the first fighter to stop Charles Johnson and does it early, congrats to him. But most likely this is going to be a longer fight. I don't think that Temirov really has the ability to get takedowns, so it's a big challenge for him here. And Charles Johnson, super experienced technical fighter, long, lanky on the feet, super slick punch-kick combinations. He'll throw elbows, he'll throw knees, and he attacks all parts of the body. He's really high volume, good power, really effective with this pressure, and he's good at keeping fighters at the edge of his shots. He heads off the cage and then kind of can counter off the back foot with the pressure and feints. His conditioning is elite. He has plus goes across the board. And like I said, I think he needs to use his clinch work here. Maybe try to mix in some takedowns. And obviously extend the fight. Use his experience. And if Temirov gets Johnson early, he gets him. But I just think Johnson has too much skill and experience on the feet to win. Temirov is dangerous, but way smaller. He's going to have to close that gap. And Johnson has dealt with all kinds of strikers, all kinds of heavy hitters. I don't see Temirov bringing a wrestling game capable of mixing it up versus Johnson. And if anything, Johnson can mix it up on Temirov. So give me Johnson here, and I think he's going to actually get that elusive submission that he's been looking for in the UFC. And I'll predict that he wins via submission in round 2. So Charles Johnson is going to be the prediction.